Hi, Richard. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
I like your hairstyle. How do I get a hairstyle?
Do you like this?
Yeah, and I tried putting stuff in.
Yeah?
It didn't work for me.
We could make you have a quiff.
All right, if you can, we'll work on it.
In fact, I think we just wrap this up and we just do an hour...
All right.
an hour quiff lesson.
Who else has got a quiff out there? Come on, stand up if you've got a quiff.
This lady's got one right here.
All right, yeah, stand up. Go on, let's have a look.
Show Richard Branson your quiff.
No,
that is good.
Quiff.
That is a good quiff.
Yeah, she's got a better quiff than you.
Yeah, it's better than mine.
You come and do the interview.
Yeah. Can we get her evicted, actually, please? Thank you. So that was so incredible. I felt like I was going to cry when I watched that then, Sir Richard Branson. Amazing montage, seeing all the incredible stuff that you've achieved. But before we get into the Q&A, could you tell us how it all began for you? Like, what your memories of starting out as a businessman and an entrepreneur?
Well, I was at school, as most of us have been. I'm dyslexic. I was absolutely hopeless at school. I'd look at the board, and there's not under everything was a jumble. So I would sit at the back of the class, and I would be sort of planning my own things. The Vietnamese War was going on, which I suspect nobody's heard of, but it was a horrible, horrible war that America fought against the Vietnamese. There was the Biafran War going on, and young people were beginning to want a voice. And so I thought, let's try to start a magazine. And I said to my dad I wanted to leave school. I was 15, and he said, well, you can only leave school if you sell enough advertising to pay for the printing and the paper costs of the magazine. So I worked out of the school phone box and somehow managed to blabber my way to get enough advertising sold. And then I rang Dad and said, got the money, I want to leave. And he stuck by his word and let me leave. And so we launched this magazine, which was a magazine designed to be a magazine for young people to get the voice of young people out. And it became my education. I did it from sort of 15 to 17, 18, interviewed tons of people, was the editor, was not interested in becoming a businessman at all, but in order for the magazine to survive, I had to, worry about the printing and the paper and the advertising sales and the distribution. So it was a good education to help me become an entrepreneur as well.
And now you did that at such a young age, and I think when I was probably like 14, 15, 16, I had so many good ideas, but then just couldn't be bothered, because I was a teenager, so I thought, I can't be bothered. How did you stay motivated? What gave you that drive and that ambition to want to succeed in doing that?
Well, I think... I think it helped the fact that I was hopeless at school. It helped the fact that I was dyslexic. So, and I think you actually find quite a lot of people who have learning disabilities exceed in other things. Because you're not good at one thing, you follow your hobby or your a different path. And I think because I wasn't good at conventional things, I wanted to exceed at other things, and I've always been just fascinated about people. I mean, I'm lucky to love people. I think again because I was dyslexic, I'm a really good delegator. So I don't try doing everything myself. I get lots of great people around me. So I had a really fantastic team of people around me from a very early age, and we had a purpose. I mean, we were young, we wanted to change the world for the better, and we set about to do so. And we obviously had a blast at the same time. I mean, we were teenagers. It was the time of free love and rock and roll. And anyway, it was a good time to live.
It sounds like a good time. Now, music was a key part of your early success, and you went to sign on bands like the Sex Pistols and the Rolling Stones and Genesis. Is music still a big part of your day-to-day life? Are you still a big fan of music?
Well, in those days, it completely absorbed me. I mean, there was when I was running the magazine one day, somebody brought me a tape of this beautiful music. Didn't have any vocals on it, all the instruments been played by one person. And I took the tape to 7 record companies. Nobody wanted to know. And so I thought, okay, we'll start a little record company and put the music out. It started selling, and that was Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells. And he was 15 when he made the album. Who's heard of Tubular Bells here? A few people, great. We then just started signing other bands that other people didn't want to sign. Yeah. And Virgin, I suppose, became the most successful independent record company in the world. And the last 2 bands we signed, the Rolling Stones and Janet Jackson, we signed at a time when British Airways were trying to put our airline out of business, and so I needed to sell the record company in order to get the resources to combat the pressure they were putting on our airline. And so since then, I keep in touch with music, sort of dive in and out. I came across one band which we signed years ago called Elbow, who is still around. Mm-hmm. So there's some bands still up and going. Even the Rolling Stones still
going strong. Who's been like your favourite band, do you think, that you've signed? Is there someone that you always love or you're a huge fan of?
I love Peter Gabriel. He was somebody we signed many years ago, and we now work together we formed an organisation called the Elders together, where we got Nelson Mandela, Kofi Annan, anyway, a number of incredible men and women to go into conflict regions and try to resolve conflicts, and we meet with them regularly, about every 3 or 4 months, and try to look at which conflicts in the world we think the Elders could possibly have some effect in trying to resolve. And they've had some successes in places like Kenya. Obviously, they're also working on the Syria problem where they haven't had much success. But they're a great team of people. They're out and about. So Peter Gabriel, he wrote a beautiful song called Biko, which he wrote as an anthem when apartheid still existed in South Africa. And Biko was killed by the white regime in a prison cell in South Africa. And when Nelson Mandela came out of prison, we decided to put up a memorial outside Cape Town. And Peter and myself went to Cape Town, went out to East London outside Cape Town, and there was the 2 of us, the only 2 white faces, 100,000 black faces. Nelson Mandela made a fantastic speech commemorating Biko. And then I went and asked if I could take his microphone off him, which I did. And I handed it to Peter, and I said, Peter, without any backing band, you're going to have to sing Biko. And he sang it to all 100,000 people joined in, and it was definitely one of the most emotional moments of my life, and I suspect all 100,000 people there. And who's heard the song Biko? I'm talking about a song that not many people will have heard of. Anyway, go and listen to it. It's very, very, very powerful.
That's interesting that you say Peter Gabriel. He was like the first. I remember like watching MTV as a kid, and that was the first person that I loved. Because remember the music video with the food, the plate, fruit face thing. And as a child, that made me like want to like do the telly and do radio and things.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, he's still playing live, and he's just incredibly creative.
Yeah.
Used to be good looking. Used to have all the ladies chasing him. He's now got a lovely wife and lovely children. Sledgehammer, another great.
I think that was the video.
Yeah,
that was the one that got me into it. Amazing video.
You're talking about. And I mean, at that time, I mean, that one band, Genesis, who were actually another Virgin band. I mean, we had Phil Collins come out of Genesis. I remember when we had In the Air Tonight. That was, massive hit, and helped helped get Virgin established, and then obviously Peter Gabriel, another person. So there was some. It was quite a talented band.
Yeah. And what about like bands like the Sex Pistols? Is that just really plain sailing, working with a band like that? Just really easy?
Sex Pistols were a lot of fun, and they took Virgin out of this sort of hippie image. I'm sort of still in it, but I mean, they took.
Not after the quiff. Oh.
Yeah. Now I'll move into rock and roll if you could get me the quiff. But they took Virgin out of the hippie image into sort of the punk era. A funny story. A couple of weeks ago, the chief executive of Virgin Atlantic made a decision which I thought was stupid. So I sent him one word, which was bollocks, and it couldn't get through the IT system at Virgin Atlantic. I got this message back saying this word is rude, and you're not allowed to deliver this word to the chief executive. So I wrote another word, bollocks, back, which again, of course, couldn't get through. So I then wrote a third time, and I explained to him that many years ago, when we had the Sex Pistols, they had an album called Never Mind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols. And the Nottingham police force decided that the word bollocks was rude. So they took us to court. And the QC who was defending us, a man called John Mortimer, rang me up and said, look, you better ring up the linguistics expert from Nottingham University and try to find out what the real meaning of the word bollocks is. So I ring up Nottingham University and I asked to put through to the professor of linguistics. I go through to him. He answers the phone, very charming sounding man, and I explain our issue. And he said, what a load of bollocks, he said. The word bollocks is nothing to do with balls or testicles. It was actually a nickname given to priests in the 18th century. So the album should really be Never Mind the Priest, Here's the Sex Pistols, or because priests talked a load of rubbish, Never Mind the Rubbish, Here's the Sex Pistols. And so I sort of said, that sounds very good. Would you mind coming to court? And he said he'd be delighted to do so. And then he paused and said that he happened to be a priest himself. Would he like me to wear his dog collar? So somehow or another we got found not guilty. So it is not a rude word, BBC. You're allowed to broadcast this story. All is fine.
I can't wait to play that on breakfast tomorrow.
You can play it on breakfast.
We can play it on breakfast. It's been through the High Court. And we need to talk about your business philosophy, because I think this is my favourite thing. It's screw it, let's do it. This is like a term that you live by. Do you think good business and being a good businessman or a good businesswoman is about taking challenges?
It's a lot more fun that way. Yeah. I mean, I'm also known as Dr. Yes at Virgin, and obviously we have a few Dr. No's to try to keep me in check, because I can't resist a new challenge. If somebody comes up with a good idea, I do just say, screw it, let's do it, let's give it a go.
Screw it, let's do it.
Another slogan we have at Virgin is, the answer's yes. Now, what was the question? But I think, I do think life's a lot more fun if you say yes. I think, I mean, I've done some quite foolish things in my life, like trying to be the first to cross the Atlantic in a hot air balloon or the Pacific. And other things, which there have been moments in those times where I've said yes, where I may well have regretted it, but had great adventures had great adventures as well.
Definitely said yes. Maybe a bit no is what I meant. Now, you've been incredibly successful.
I mean, I think, look, I mean, on a serious answer on that, I think, it is important. I think it's important to say yes more often than saying no. It's also, if you're interested in doing it in a business-like way, think about what the downside is to saying yes. So, I mean, if there's, if by saying yes, it's going to, if it all goes horribly wrong, mean you're going to lose your house. Maybe saying yes is not such a good idea. So it's just worth getting a balance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, get that yes right, I guess, is the answer.
Yeah, that's the sort of fatherly advice.
Yeah, I like that advice. It's good. And now, as we saw on that footage, and as we all know, you're incredibly successful and started many businesses, 100 companies, 65,000 employees in, I think, 50 countries across the world. But there has been some failures along the way. How do you deal with things that have failed and not gone the way that you wanted them to?
Well, I don't think that any of us should go through life without failure, and also, obviously then learning from your failure. And I think as an entrepreneur, if you only create successful things, it's unlikely you're going to create very many things, because it's unlikely everything's going to succeed. I think my attitude is, to fight extremely hard to make something successful, work day and night to make sure it doesn't fail. And if after giving it your all, it does fail, literally brushing yourself down, picking yourself up the next day and putting it completely behind you and moving on. And I've had to brush myself down a few times, but I think one of our most notable failures started off as a fantastic success, and we decided that we could knock Coca-Cola into number 2 position in the world, and we launched Virgin Cola here in England. Who remembers Virgin Cola? A few hands.
I remember it. It's delicious.
Anyway, thank you. For about a year, we were outselling Coke and Pepsi everywhere we were being sold, and Coke didn't take us very seriously. And then we suddenly started getting onto their radar, and they hired a plane in Atlanta. They filled it up with SWAT teams and tons of money. They flew this plane to England, and they went around all the retailers where Virgin Cola was being sold at, and just Virgin Cola started disappearing from all the shelves. And they, very cleverly drove us off the shelves. And I think what we learned from that was, if we start a business, make sure we really differentiate ourselves from our rivals. So when British Airways tried to drive us out of business, we were a better airline. People stuck with us, and we survived. And so since then, anything we do, we try to be, the best in the field.
Mm-hmm. Can you drink a Coca-Cola now, or you're drinking it like God?
I
think we're ready for questions from the floor.
Yeah, no, it does have an awful lot of sugar.
Really bad for you.
Coca-Cola used to, when it started, have cocaine in it. I've still been looking for one of those old cans, but goes back about 100 years, I think. But actually, that's how they got people hooked for about 20 or 30 years, and then somebody decided that cocaine wasn't good for you. So,
yeah, it's probably not great, really, is it? Talk to me about Virgin Startups. What exactly is Virgin Startups?
People get loans to go to university, and we thought people should get loans if they got good business ideas and they employ people, and actually they'll learn just about as much running a business as they would in a, say, business course at college. So we went to the government and persuaded them that the government should consider giving loans for entrepreneurs as well as for university students. And so Virgin has got a wonderful team of people who help administer it. We have mentors that help give advice, and we got a lot of kids who are getting these loans, starting businesses, and hopefully one day will be the Virgin of the future. So like Jamal Edwards, I think, started off with with a small loan. And built a great company, and I think there'll be lots and lots of other people like him.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Well, do we have any questions from the floor? Wow, I thought people would be a little bit shy, but nope. Okay, what would you like to ask Sir Richard?
This lady's lady in red. Look, virgin colour. Stand up, stand up. Show your colour.
She's going to be like, why are you such a great employer?
Okay, actually on the topic of startups, I'm looking to start a charity organisation which promotes the effects of creative therapies on mental health. And I'm aware that you obviously have started up Virgin Unite, and I just wondered what struggles you had when you first started up, if you had any tips in particular starting up a charity organisation at all.
Sadly, this television camera is in your face and I can't see you.
Oh, no, hello.
I'm just trying to think whether starting a charity is that different from starting a normal business. I think first of all, whether it's a charity or a normal business, you want to be passionate about what you're doing. And presumably, did you get into this because you had a family friend or somebody that you knew had a problem? Or?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. There's actually two of us who work together, and both of us have been impacted. One of us personally, one through a family member. So, yeah, that's where it's come from.
So I think a lot of the best ideas come from personal, frustrations, difficulties, a feeling that other people are not doing it that well. Have you found other people are not doing it that well?
Not necessarily. I just feel that the creative therapies, in particular for us, it's choral singing. We actually did a prototype of the idea a year ago. It's a year ago today, actually. And it just worked really well. And once it had gone well once, we had recommendations for people to do it again. So now we're looking at doing it on a national scale, it's just the passion. Like, currently, I work for someone else, and I don't feel very passionate in my job because it's not my idea. And then you go in, and we did that project, and we made no money for it personally, but we made money for Mind, the charity. And just the reward you get from doing something you're really passionate about, I'd rather have less money and do that than work for someone else. I think that's what I've realised. So,
do you mind just saying what a creative therapy is?
So people can use creative therapies. So, for example, in our case, it's choral singing, just a choir. But you can do drama therapy, so you can do acting, and that they get more confidence, and it helps them overcome whatever mental illness they're coming with, they're diagnosed with. There's a series of different things you can do, but for us, it's more the choral singing that we're focusing on.
Okay, well, it sounds like you've got a great idea. You're passionate about it. You want to set up your own organisation. You've got a good team of people. You've got your friend to work with. Then screw it, just get on and do it. Sounds great.
Screw it, let's do it.
Good luck.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Should we have a question from the lady next door but one to you as well?
Thanks.
Because you did similar speed arm race.
Come and stand up so we can see you. Come.
Oh my God.
Yeah, come on.
There. It's all right. I'm just trying to get you out of the way of this television camera.
Thanks so much for doing this, Buddy. This is amazing.
Pleasure.
It was just that you're known to be so fearless and a pioneer and visionary. But if you can think back, like when you first started, did you, in your first kind of projects, feel fear and sort of have doubts about yourself or the project, or have you just always been like Branson, like?
No, look, I'd certainly had plenty of doubts. I knew nothing. I had to become a good listener. So I was always asking questions, if somebody visited the school, I would sit down and I think because I was 15, I was enthusiastic. They would give us the time, and I think ever since then I think I'm a good listener, which is very is the best way of learning, obviously, and actually I think the best way of leading. Once you actually do get into a position of leadership, through listening and learning, somehow managed to sort of struggle through by having good people around me who believed in what I was doing. You can then get through the difficult times together and enjoy the good times together. And we had lots of struggles, lots of difficult times. So, what are your plans?
Well, I've just actually left a career in teaching to do music, the singer-songwriter. So that's just my passion. But yeah, you're an inspiration because it's that kind of fearless. I need to, just screw it, just do it,
So on a screw it, just do it moment, why don't you just sing us a song?
Wow. I'll just do one of my own.
Come up here, because I think my microphone's stronger than this.
Or would you like the Madonna headset? And then you could dance as well. What's your name, by the way?
Natalie.
Natalie, everyone.
Oh my God.
Hello.
Oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. Thank you so much. I'll just do one of my own songs. In another life, I'd be married now. I'd be settled down like you. I would hear the sound of my babies cry, and I'd hold them tight the whole night through. But this is my life now. Some things may never come true. So before I go to sleep, I pray to keep my faith in you. My weakness is my strength. I may not be the best, but my weakness is my strength. That doesn't make me any less than you.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you, Natalie. Well done. That was so great. It was really great. Thank you, Natalie. Wow. That's amazing. So great. And I guess that's the attitude you need there. You've got to do it. There's an opportunity, and she did it, and she nailed it.
Well, it was absolutely and utterly stunning, I thought. And no backing band, no musicians, no forewarning. And I think you got to play it once or twice now.
Got to play it tomorrow.
Yeah, all right.
We'll play it in the morning.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Okay, so you have a question from over... Where are we going? Where should we go? The man with the glasses there.
I'm over here, sorry.
You've got a microphone. Okay, you. Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but well done. That was brilliant.
Sing a song.
Oh, God, you don't want to hear me sing.
What did you say? You're in the strip business. I've got
Richard, so I'm going on post-university to work for a very large corporate organisation, but I want to take my kind of entrepreneurial interest, my entrepreneurial streak with me. I'm kind of scared that might get lost in somewhere like the organisation that I'm going to work for. And being Virgin the way it is, being so innovative and entrepreneurial, do you have any tips for kind of keeping true to myself in that kind of environment?
I was once asked to go on to This Is Your Life, and there was a screen, and behind the screen this voice came, and I sort of went like, I don't know who the hell this is. Anyway, it was my wife who was behind the screen, and she happens to be from Glasgow. I still don't understand anything she says. and I couldn't understand what you said. Come forward, and can tell me again. Right, I should know. I mean, I've had 38 years. I should know by now. But anyway, this I sort of sometimes understand, and other times I use it as an excuse. Okay. Right.
I'll maybe speak a bit slower. Okay, so post-university, I'm going on to work for a very large...
Right, somebody else come and stand and translate, please.
Okay. I'm going on to work for a very large corporate organisation, and I really want to take my entrepreneurial interests and kind of my passion with me, and I'm a wee bit scared that it's going to get lost in that kind of environment. And with Virgin being the way it is, even though it's so huge, how do you keep it that innovative? How do you keep it that entrepreneurial?
So you work for a big organisation now, and you want to go and be an entrepreneur, or?
Yeah, well, I'm leaving university to go.
Oh, I see. To work for a big organisation.
Like but I study business enterprise at Strathclyde,
right.
And I'm kind of scared that that passion and that kind of interest is going to get lost in somewhere that's quite bureaucratic.
So have you thought about setting up your own business, or?
I have, but I just don't know if I've got the confidence to do it yet. But
what's your passion? And I mean, what's your hobby?
I'm really quite interested in fashion, but what I think is lacking in fashion at the moment is fashionable business wear for females. Every kind of business event I go to, there's females and they're dressed absolutely drastically horrendous. They're just drab colours and horrible shapes, and there's nothing that hugs the figure, and I think that that's definitely needed. You need to make yourself stand out, and fashion's a way to do that.
So why didn't you do that?
Oh, I don't know. I'll come back to you in a few years.
Because I think the danger is that if you go into a big business, it's going to be difficult, as you say, to going back to being an entrepreneur later. Or you could go into a big business and then maybe in the evenings start planning your business. But I think the thing about being an entrepreneur is, just you have to think, what is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is simply coming up with an idea that makes other people's lives better. If you feel that women are not being given clothes, certain kinds of clothing that they should have and they'd want to wear, you should just do it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, someone at the back over here has a mic.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
You're going to be a male version, aren't you now?
Yeah.
All right, I think I can understand you.
Okay, well, basically, I'm a DJ and producer, and I'm 16, so I'm still in school, doing my National 5s. But I really want to, make it big as a DJ and producer. So with how you started in the music industry and how you started in the record store as well, I was wondering what your advice was on sending my own tracks out to, like different record labels, if there was anything that's not like everyone does, like if there's any kind of tips or tricks to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm slightly out of touch with the music business, and it's obviously a lot tougher than it was because of Apple, because of the internet. It's just difficult to get to get a lot of sales with music these days. Being a DJ and a performer, obviously the performing side is going really well, and I would have thought you could build a big business as a DJ, as a performer. Sending out tapes to music companies is unlikely to get you anywhere. So somehow you've got to, you've almost got to sort of just, go out and go there and sit outside and you're a good-looking lad. Go and try to pretend you're the tea boy and just start handing out tea. And if anybody asks, how you got the job, just said, that you were employed a week ago by that time you'll find the name of somebody you can name drop in it. So you need a little bit of bullshit just to sort of bullshit your way in. So, go into Virgin Records. They're actually the #1 record company at the moment in UK, and just become the T-boy. And if you get caught, say who told you to go.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Thank you.